What's up, everybody? This is Danny Thompson for Beyond the Buzzer. We're live here on Zingo Television, I-95, Facebook Live, and everywhere you can hear the sound of my voice. For the next 60 minutes, you'll be watching myself and to the man to the right of me, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash, go over everything in the world of sports with a little bit of humor behind it. So without further ado, let me introduce my co-host of the show, the SOT to the G, the man wearing looks like a Carolina blue shirt because that is the right color to be wearing. My main man, Kyle Nash. How you doing, my friend?
Good word, Danny Thompson. Hey, I'm sporting my Ant-Man. If you got a problem with that, I can't help you.
Listen, and nothing wrong with Ant-Man. He's the smallest superhero that carries the biggest punch.
I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
Zero fronting. I am front free in this occasion. And hey, listen, not for nothing. I got a whole lot of stuff to get off my chest, but I'm not going to do it on tonight's episode. I'm going to do it when I drop my first article on the 3-point conversion here. Just saying.
Yes, big shouts to Kyle for joining the 3-point conversion family this afternoon. He is now part of the 3-point conversion family. Big shouts to everybody in the crew. My main man, Mr. Controversy, Raphael Haynes, LA Broadus, Ab Stanley, Mike Patton, Karita Parks. Let's see, Alan Fields, Eric Urbanowski, my main man, Alex Babb, Malik Jackson, and now we're adding Kyle onto the team. You know, it's coming together day by day, that's for sure. And also big shout out to our good friends at Valor, which is Valor Entertainment. You see that little sign in the corner that says VALOR, which is at the internet address of itsvalor.us. If you're looking for all your needs, especially when it comes to music, social media. If you're looking for somebody to brand your company, trust me, they can do everything branding. Jay Waddell and the entire crew, and our good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 Pine Hills Road in Orlando, Florida. My main man, Corey Lamar. And also check out his show Saturday mornings. If you do not have the app for God, I completely just drew a blank of the radio station. Kyle, help me out here with the radio station in Orlando.
98.5 The Wire?
Thank you, 98.5 The Wire. If you do not have the app, download it. 7 to 11 every Saturday morning. Corey has a great music show. It's like going to a cookout every Saturday, and you'll be able to listen and enjoy all types of music. So check his show out. My main man, Donald Owens, Lisa J, the entire crew over at Mentality Barbershop. So as we get into this tonight, we have some wonderful news. Basketball is officially back. The NBA bubble finally starts itself tonight. Yes, no more exhibition games. All right, no more. Yes, it's opening night 2.0. All right. We're back to basketball. We're back to everything that we deem normal. Just a little bit microwaved, but we're back. Headlined by the game that's going to be starting in about the next 10 to 15 minutes. So between the Clippers and the Lakers, the Battle of Los Angeles in Florida. Hey, listen. You know, Alvin Gentry said it best. He said he loves the home court advantage the Pelicans feel inside the building in Orlando. He said he feels the home crowd advantage. Alvin Gentry as best, ladies and gentlemen. So the Jazz and Pelicans were playing a tight game. Before we jumped on the air, the Pelicans were up by 6 in the fourth quarter. The major story of this game was the fact that Zion Williamson actually is playing. Now, he was on a minute restriction. What else is new? All right, he was playing in spurts. He was playing in 3-minute intervals. Okay. In basketball, that's the equivalent of a hockey line change. Okay. He played one shift in the NHL per quarter. All right. He played 3 minutes and it was done. He had 10 points through 3 quarters in his opening debut. So, Kyle, listen, I know you're a big NFL guy transitioning into basketball and those sports. How good does it feel to actually have a sport that actually has it right, other than MLS and with the NHL debut on the weekend? How good does it feel to actually have sports because baseball is not doing it correctly?
Well, yeah, I know. I'm with you. I'm happy about it. I'd be interested to have the honor and privilege of hanging with you tonight. And listen, let me add this too, Danny Thompson. The only thing I would advise against doing is celebrating by acquiring some chicken wings.
Listen, speaking of chicken wings, I'm going to say this now. So for those who didn't watch my show with Deshaun Tate on Tuesday nights, Talking Hoops, Deshaun, I have a bet, Kyle. And if the Portland Trail Blazers get to the first round of the playoffs and they can extend it to 6 games, Deshaun will be owing me an order of wings from Magic City.
Oh,
Now, if for somehow I lose this bet somehow, I owe him some Carolina barbecue. But listen, when those Magic City wings come, Kyle, we'll have to figure out a way to send you some.
when they come, I like how you.
Yes, yes. When they show up, I'll be a tasting and I'll be a eating. Yes. I'm not. I mean, I'm gonna have to get Lou. I'm gonna have to get some kind of mix of half and half here. Some Lou Will lemon pepper, maybe with some barbecue, some Uncle Jeff barbecue. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but I know Lou Will lemon pepper's coming.
Listen, with the way you were defending Lou Williams, it's only fitting you at least make them half that Lou Williams lemon pepper. Hell, I gotta be honest.
Hell, I might eat them on the air. I might do a special live show just to eat them on the air.
Oh yeah, eat them on the air. I'll host the show, and you can pitch in. Listen, I may not be in on the show, I'm your co-host, so it is my job to set the table for you to rub it into the face of your opponent here. Should you win the bet?
Oh, should I win? Go! Listen, I have a chance to have Damian Lillard on my side. I am all for it. Also, if you're watching the show on Facebook Live and you want your comments on air, by all means, post something in the chat room. We'll post it on air. We'll also answer any in comments as well too. All right. So like I said, Opening Night 2.0 is on the schedule. As we're live, it is 104-102. The Pelicans had a lead in this game, and guess what? Like the Pelicans always do, the lead doesn't hold very well. It's 104-102, 32 seconds left in the game. Jordan Clarkson off the bench has a game high 23 for the Utah Jazz. As like I said, it's getting down to the wire. We'll keep you guys updated on that and also keep you updated on the Lakers game as well too. For me, in this bubble, it's exciting. You have 6 games tomorrow. You have a whole bunch of games on Saturday, and really everybody's playing every other day. I think each team has one back-to-back. We're basically playing, Kyle, 8 games in about 17 days. All right. Wow. There's not much room for error here. If guys get hurt, it's next man up at this point. All right. You're not really bringing the guy into the bubble at this point. You're going to rock what you have.
It's kind of being pulled out of the sky. I wouldn't be surprised, Dan, if we see a lot more players be that guy like you're talking about here, bench player, leading forward. You may see more of that now than you have, I should say.
I think when it comes to this, it really like Jordan Clarkson is one of the better highest scoring 6 men in the league. So the Jazz who are down their second best scorer in Bojan Bojanovic, they're getting his almost 21 points a game from Jordan Clarkson, who has 23, because they only have, outside of Clarkson's 23, as a bench unit, they only combine for 4 points like outside of Clarkson's 23. So that is it's been a real issue with that so far in this first game of the season. All right. So like I said, Lakers and Clippers at 10:30. We're just excited to have basketball back. We'll be talking basketball, of course, like we always do on the show as we go on forward over the next couple of weeks. Just know that this is now for real. We're ready to go. And guess what? This is all excitement about the National Basketball Association. Good news is we had no incident with wings. No players were suspended. No players were taken away for quarantine. And also nobody left this week. Also, good news in the NBA is that there have been no positive tests for COVID. And most of all the players who are supposed to be there are there, with the exception of Montrezl Harrell, who is still away from the team at the current moment. Eric Bledsoe, Dante DiVincenzo Eric Bledsoe and Pat Connaughton are back from Milwaukee. Patrick Beverley is with the team, but he's not playing tonight. Like I said, everybody's healthy. Everybody's ready to go. Nobody was seriously injured, with the exception of Aaron Gordon, who is going to be out for about 2 weeks. But the good news is the Rockets are in the playoffs. All right. So other news today, in the world of Kyle's favorite part of the world, college football. College football has made some interesting decisions in the last 36 hours, with 2 of the major power conferences saying, guess what? Let's kick off football. Right. The ACC and the SEC will be kicking off games in the month of September. ACC starting over between the 7th and the 10th. Correct. SEC will be kicking off on September 26th. All right, for those scoring at home, the ACC will be playing 10 games and 1 extra additional game, which they thought was a lot of the rivalry games, the in-state rivalries, and the games that are not in the conference. Well, the SEC kind of kicked the ACC and gave them the Stone Cold Stunner, the middle finger, and drunk 2 beers when they made their decision to only go conference only. Why do I say that? Well, that when the SEC went that with this decision, two of the longest standing rivalries in college football will not be played this year.
Right.
Clemson and South Carolina, who have played for 111 years in a row. Kyle, 111 years in a row at Clemson and South Carolina played football. Georgia and Georgia Tech have played for 95 straight years in a row. Neither one of these two games we played this year.
You're leaving out that's significant as well, sir, in the form of Florida and FSU.
Yeah, but they have not played as long as these games have.
Oh, but I'm still big magnitude as well.
Also, don't forget there was a key game between Georgia and Virginia, and Auburn and North Carolina will not be playing their games either. So with this model being set, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have not made any decisions on what they haven't announced their schedule, but I'm sure it's coming soon. So Kyle, before we go, Precious is in the chat saying, of course, Kyle, she says hello.
Hi, Precious.
Of course. But Kyle, when you heard the news of the ACC, oh, yeah, other part. We forgot about the ACC adding a new member this season. Oh, no. Right. Yes, they added a new member that's technically a member that's not a member. The only school in the NCAA that has an entanglement is Notre Dame has an entanglement with the ACC. All right. For those keeping score at home, Notre Dame is an ACC school in every sport but football. Why? Because Notre Dame's television contract is higher and costs more. Hey, Precious. Is more expensive than what the ACC contract is. Notre Dame didn't want to share. Kyle, it's like you go into your favorite restaurant and saying, hey, bring back something. You're at dinner table. You're not sharing your food, are you, Kyle? At your favorite restaurant,
these are my Lou Williams lemon pepper wings.
Yes, you're not sharing Lou Williams pepper wings with anybody. Notre Dame is not sharing that NBC television money with anybody. I know Bobby Blackjack in the studio is a Notre Dame fan. We'll get him to come in a second. Yeah. But Kyle, now ACC has now become a new team with Notre Dame. There is no divisions this year. Before we talk SEC, what are your thoughts on the ACC this year?
I mean, listen, Notre Dame really does a lot more to make their schedule as powder puff as humanly possible as they try to dodge any real competition. That's why I said it. And on top of all that, it's a good excuse for the ACC to dodge other teams that would crush them outside of the conference as well, such as anybody in the American. Listen, the ACC is a joke. I've been very public about that. The only team in it that's any good is Clemson. I'll give Notre Dame this much credit. I'm going to have a lot of fun watching the Clemson-Notre Dame Conference Championship game in December.
Well, also for those scoring at home, Clemson has to go to Notre Dame now.
That's true.
So Notre Dame's schedule, and Bobby, I want you to jump in because you're a Notre Dame guy. And I want your thoughts on the schedule because, like I said, Notre Dame had to basically redo their entire schedule to fit the ACC schedule in. All right, so now you have Notre Dame's home schedule includes Clemson, home games with Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Louisville, and Syracuse. On the road side, you have Boston College, at Georgia Tech, at North Carolina, at Pitt, at Wake Forest. For those scoring at home, Notre Dame got off lucky in this situation.
Duh.
The only road game that's going to be an issue for Notre Dame all year, I'm going to say, is North Carolina. And because Sam Howell is one of the best quarterbacks in college football. It's very simple. And when you have to go against a passing offense, it's always something. Notre Dame, mind you, Notre Dame gets Clemson at home. They get Florida State at home, and they get Louisville at home. Something tells me something wasn't right with the schedule. Bobby, if you had a chance to check in with you, Bobby, what are your thoughts on Notre Dame's schedule this season? Let's see if Bobby comes in. All right.
Get out of here.
Really?
Beat UCF right now.
Are we doing this? Are we really going to do this? There we go.
I can't get the fight song on. I'm so pissed off. I can't get the fight song downloaded fast enough. I'm so mad.
So, Bobby, what are your thoughts on Notre Dame's schedule this year? I mean, we just read the Notre Dame schedule. They're not playing anything else.
I've been telling you guys for months now. Notre Dame is under the radar this year. They got an experienced quarterback in Ian Book back in the fold. They're going to make noise this year. I'm excited. I hope they play something. They're going to make some noise. They can knock off Clemson, I'm telling you.
All right, before you get ahead of yourself, beating Clemson's one thing. The good news is Notre Dame avoided Miami. I think Miami's going to be better than people think. De'Aaron King is the quarterback. He's been officially named as starting quarterback in Miami. They'll be a lot better. They'll be a lot better than what they were in the last couple of years. They avoided Miami. Okay. Technically, their road games are not difficult, and they avoided Virginia. So you avoid Virginia and Miami. And guess what? You don't got to play Virginia Tech either. They kind of got the back end of the schedule in the ACC. So I wonder who, like a congressional party, I wonder whose pockets Notre Dame greased to get out of half those games in the schedule. All right. For those keeping track at home with the NBA game, give you a quick update before we talk about the SEC. Yes, the first game of the NBA season has gotten even better because guess what? We got a game that's a barn burner in Orlando. I know. I wish we can go live, but NBA restrictions won't allow us to show the game live, and we don't want to have anything with the NBA coming to find us because for those, what you should do is you should turn the game on TNT, put it on mute, and just listen to us. All right. So I'll give you. It is now 104 with about 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter. It's getting tight. We have a real good basketball game, and we're on the air at the same time. All right, Kyle. Let's talk the SEC. Now the SEC is a little bit different now. The SEC is going to play a schedule where, I guess, the ACC allows themselves to have one additional game. I'm just trying to figure out where this additional game is coming from if half these schools aren't even playing this year. Kyle, the SEC is now going to play a schedule starting September 26th with 2 bye weeks.
Right.
On top of that, their SEC championship game will be scheduled for December 19th in Atlanta.
Correct.
What are your thoughts on the 10-game schedule in the SEC?
I mean, listen, I've always early on, I felt like when teams told me that the SEC would eventually follow suit, they were just going to wait for the last minute to do it. Well, here we go. It's a good way to kind of limit travel and distance, I guess. But I'll put it this way. Anybody who has an SEC-only schedule, in my opinion, it only increases the degree of difficulty, right? The Citadel games that Alabama, for example, has become so famous for are now no longer an issue, right? Florida does not have the ease with which to battling a hampered Florida State program this year. Little things like that actually make their chances of doing any real noise nationwide because of schedules and strength of schedules and whatnot. Now, granted, I don't know that the college football playoff is even going to be a factor this year. That's a whole other question. But at day's end, the SEC, being the superior conference, has now made its chances of winning far more difficult, right? I think it could be argued that it's much more difficult to go 10-0 in this schedule than you would a 12-0 in a conventional schedule when you're not playing only SEC teams.
The one thing with the SEC having a 10-game schedule is now are they going to go with the conference format, like the division format they've done before? Or are they going to pull it what the ACC did was and just scrap the conferences and go with the 2 best teams? Because if that's the case, I think it's a better idea to maybe scrap it. Just scrap the divisions for a year and just go the best 2 teams end up in Atlanta. And Kyle, you could talk about Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah.
In that conference.
Alabama, LSU, whatever, man. You have good combinations there.
I mean, I just know one thing. If this is the case, Georgia won't be playing the SEC championship game.
By the way, I see Cortland's comment there. Thank you for the props, man. I didn't even get into talking about how many of their O-linemen have since, left for the NFL, like Quentin Nelson, for example. So Ian Book will put a fraction of his former self. Bobby needs to get them tissues ready when Clemson comes to town. That's all I'm saying.
All I know is Bobby says they're ready for Clemson. They're not ready for Clemson. Now, Kyle, let's look at now. Since we talked the last game of college football, let's talk about who would win the ACC now. Who is going to play Clemson in the ACC championship game? I think it's in Charlotte this year. Whatever weekend they decide, I think it's the 12th or 19th. Who is going to play Clemson? Because unless Trevor Lawrence goes down and Travis Etienne goes down, there's no way Clemson's not playing in the ACC championship game. With no divisions, who is the team that's going to play Clemson?
I got Notre Dame. Simply because the rest of the division is that bad. Listen, I talk all the trash I do on Notre Dame just simply because Notre Dame fans have given me a hard time as the other school outside of the ACC that crushes the ACC. So, this is what I deal with covering UCF. They give me a hard time even though all I do is cover the school. But at the end of the day, Notre Dame, it's not the Notre Dame's fault that the ACC is completely awful and that they represent a significant upgrade to the conference.
I don't think Notre Dame is conference championship game. I'm going to say this. It's going to be Clemson. Rodney says that Notre Dame loses. I see that happening.
It's possible, but I can't say it a lot. I mean, Rodney, listen, if you end up being right and your homer take works, I'm not.
Listen, if his homer take is Clemson, he's got a good chance of winning a lot of the stuff this year.
Listen, that ain't the homer take. Stop it, okay? All the kids, you know what I'm talking.
Well, no, I will give Rodney this. He's a Clemson alum, so he's a Clemson alum. Okay. So
respect. I didn't have that, so that's my.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll give him credit for this one. He's a Clemson alum, so it's really no bias him because he went to Clemson. He graduated. I don't know why he chose there, but he went to Clemson. All right. He's just upset because his university can't beat mine in basketball. They won one time since the existence of basketball at Clemson. So here we go. Here's the thing. I think North Carolina, and this is not a homer pick, because Carolina has a very good offense. They can throw the ball down the field. They have good receivers. They have a good O-line, and they're going to put up points. North Carolina is option A, but it wouldn't surprise me if we got a rematch with Clemson and Virginia in Charlotte or Clemson, Miami. Listen, Miami is a ticking time bomb down there. If they had decent quarterback play last year, think about this, Kyle. If Miami would have had De'Aaron King last year, the De'Aaron King that we both have seen at Houston, running that offense, how good would Miami have been last year?
They would have been a lot better. They wouldn't have been the train wreck that they were. I don't think they're winning the conference or anything like that.
But they would have gotten the conference championship game or at least made some noise.
Well, that's a pretty low bar you're stating there, Danny Thompson, which is why you're absolutely right.
I will say this. Florida State will not make the ACC championship game for 100 there, Kyle. All right.
Way to set that bar super high.
Let's talk SEC, Kyle. All right. Alabama more likely is the favorite in the conference. All right. It's Alabama. No matter if they lost Tua, they lost everything, offensive pieces, they still return Devontae Smith, and they still return George Waddell at receiver. They still got those two pieces right there. Who do you think will be playing them? Will LSU return to the SEC championship game to go against them, or you think it's somebody else?
My experience tells me in my relatively short career covering college football, don't bet against Coach Orgeron if you can help it. That being said, Florida has improved significantly. If you pick LSU, I'm not mad at it, but I'm prepared to tell you guys to watch out for it. They were making noise last year, and the only thing that kept them from getting to that promised land of the conference championship was, in fact, guess who? LSU, who literally had all-time record-breaking bleeding stats. Okay, so I don't think they're doing that without Joe Burrow. So at this point, they're relying a lot more on defense, which isn't bad, obviously. But since it's SEC only, it's going to be a whole bunch of slobber knocker fests, and they're not going to have an explosive offense in play like they've had in the past. So I'll put it this way: the SEC, it's a tough thing to predict. Teams can come up. You can have close games and close losses. Heck, LSU nearly got defeated by, I believe it was a Texas A&M team, if I remember correctly. So it's one of those things. But today, I would say LSU. But if Florida makes it, I'm going to be shocked either.
I'll say this. Another team you never want to count is the Auburn Tigers. You never want to count Auburn out. Now, in a situation with no divisions, losing to Alabama might not cost you the SEC championship game anymore. The question is really how the schedule plays out. If Auburn if they decide to scrap the divisions completely, if they can avoid having to play both Alabama and LSU, you can see Auburn in Atlanta.
Well, that would be
even with.
Wouldn't it be a back-to-back game situation? They'd have the Iron Bowl and then the conference championship not the next week. It may not be, but
like I said, they're gonna reshift all the schedules. So
yeah, that's true. So I mean, at any rate, like what you're telling me is the conference championship could be a rematch of the Iron Bowl 2 in 2020.
Listen, Iron Bowl in 2020 and Iron Bowl Part 2 at the end of 2020. It's the best Christmas gift you possibly can find at one point in time.
It is the most wonderful time of the year, Danny Thompson.
It really is. All right, so we've talked ACC, we talked SEC. We've literally talked so many things, but we're going to take a quick break here on Beyond the Buzzer, pay a couple bills here, and then we come back. Kyle and I will talk about something that some people don't really understand. And to me and Kyle's point, I don't understand either, which is the NFL Top 100. This is Beyond the Buzzer, I-95, and Zingo Television on Facebook Live. We'll be right back in about 45 seconds. That was our good friends at Central Florida Rescue Saving Cats.
Central Florida.
What can I say?
CFAR. Big cats being saved. Good times all the way around. Quick shouts to Dr. Kevin Wilkes.
Yes, and they should be making a trip up to North Carolina to save the Carolina Panthers. All right. As we're talking about saving things and talking about the NFL, let's talk about the NFL Top 100. All right. So the NFL Top 100, and let me explain how this works. The NFL Top 100 is voted on by the players. So none of us media folks like Kyle and myself and other people who are in this chat as well, we don't vote on the NFL Top 100. Now, we can give our own Top 100, and, depends on who you listen to, whether you want to pay us any attention. You won't see the Carolina Panthers on my list. All right. But the NFL players voted for their top 100 players in the league. It had started out on Sunday, and it's been shown on NFL Network all week, with the top 10 being announced on Wednesday night, all the way down from player number 100 to number 1. All right, Kyle, I'm going to go through the players' top 10, and then we'll just talk about the list in general.
Okay.
We'll go from 10 to 1. All right. Number 10 was Tennessee's Derrick Henry. Number 9, Stephon Gilmore of the New England Patriots. 8, DeAndre Hopkins of the Arizona Cardinals. I'm so used to saying Houston Texans. 7, George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers. 5, Christian McCaffrey of that team in the Carolinas. 5 is Michael Thomas for some team in Louisiana that nobody knows about. All right, number 4 is Patrick Mahomes. Number 3, Aaron Donald. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Number 1, Lamar Jackson. Kyle, what are your thoughts on the top 10 first and foremost?
I don't really see a universe where it makes sense to put a corner in the top 10. I like Stephon Gilmore too, but his position kind of negates him. But hey, I'll give him credit for his reputation. And I think that's the biggest issue with this particular list. Oh, but the players voted for it. They know better than anybody. Yeah, that's great. But when you look at the schedule, Danny Thompson, you play approximately, you play representatives of 2.5 divisions, essentially. 3.5 divisions, right? Your own division, obviously see the most, another division in your conference, a division in the other conference, and 2 what I call bonus games that both usually they don't always have to come from the same conference, but usually do, right? That's not 32 teams, Danny Thompson. So the players being credible sources of information here, not really a thing. So there's that to consider.
All right. So, Kyle, is anybody that you said Stephon Gilmore is the biggest one you disagree with?
I get it, but
here's where I disagree on the list. All right.
Julio should be ahead of Michael Thomas. No, I get it, but
listen, I didn't even mention Julio Jones was number 11, so I'm not gonna disagree with that. Okay. Yeah. Here's why I do disagree, and there's two of them. All right. I don't understand the dislike for Patrick Mahomes in this league, because to me, Patrick Mahomes is number 1 in this entire league right now. I mean, I love Lamar Jackson. Love Lamar Jackson does. There's no way Patrick Mahomes is the third best quarterback in the NFL. And I know you love Russell Wilson. I know you love Russell.
First of all, there is one defense. First of all, I agree with you. I think I would have Patrick Mahomes number one. Rusty is right where he needs to be. And I'm with you. I like L-Jack a lot. I'm going to be talking about him quite a bit in my upcoming article here that I'm writing for my debut at 3 Point. But I'm with you. I don't think Lamar Jackson makes sense as number one. But this is the point you make when I debate him as the MVP, which he shouldn't do with 12 Pro Bowlers. Okay? No, he not yet. He's a good story, and that's what people cling to. Am I wrong, Danny Thompson?
You're not wrong. I know what Lamar Jackson brings to the table is something we haven't seen since a guy who wore number 7 in Atlanta. The only difference is that the guy that wore number 7 and the guy and the guy they call, the guy that's running the signals in Baltimore is the fact that the guy in Baltimore is a better passer. He's more accurate, is a better thrower than number 7. They're both just as electric on the field. Lamar Jackson's a better thrower and more accurate, and that's understandable. But Patrick Mahomes is the best player in this league. There's only one guy on this list in the entire NFL, Kyle, that I can make an argument that can be 1B to Patrick Mahomes is 1A.
Aaron Donald.
And that's Aaron Donald. Because Aaron Donald's the most dominant defensive player in the entire league. It's really simple. Aaron Donald had a down year and still had 10.5 sacks. Kyle, he still had over 80 pressures against the quarterback and led the NFL in tackles for loss.
And I can point to another NFL player that is that kind of a force, at least at some point in his recent part of his career. Okay, I'm a J.J. Watt guy, you know this, but I have to vote Aaron Donald ahead of him for one reason alone. You can't help the club in the tub. The best kind of ability is availability, and JJ's just had too many issues in comparison.
I know you're a J.J. Watt guy. I mean, Watt's one of the more – when he's healthy, he is still arguably one of the 5 best defensive players in the league when he's healthy.
Yeah, he does what Aaron Donald can do, no doubt.
But here's the other part I have. And I know he's on your team, Kyle. But is George Kittle the 7th – is George Kittle the 7th best player in the NFL?
I wouldn't put him there, but let me see what I think he is. Okay. Name a 49ers receiver, please.
Okay.
I'm asking.
Name one? Oh, okay. So currently, I thought you in history. Currently, right now, I mean, you're looking at what? Deebo Samuel.
Exactly. So what I'm getting at is the offense runs, and let's give it to your boy Kyle Shanahan, who is in his early 30s, I might add. Like, excuse me. He's running an offense through a fullback and a tight end for most of it. Okay, like tight end of his size and stature, having the offense run through him. You haven't seen that since Gronk in recent history, right? So I kind of think that's why he's there. Again, I wouldn't put him there. I get your gripe. I think he belongs there more than Stephon Gilmore, in my opinion. But I get. I see where you're coming from. I don't know who I'd switch him out with. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. But you're making good points.
11 through 20, and then we'll talk about maybe one of these guys from 11 through 20 might be able to place guys in the top 10. 11 through 20, 11 is Julio Jones, 12 is Drew Brees, 13 is Bobby Wagner, 14 is Tom Brady, 15 Chandler Jones, 16 Aaron Rodgers, 17 Nick Bosa, 18 Travis Kelce, 19 Khalil Mack, 20 Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson should be in the top 10, and he should be there ahead of either Gilmore or Kittle.
I'll be honest with you, Bobby Wagner should be in the top 10.
I think the reason he's not is his history. But other than that, I can make a case for you too. Bobby Wagner's a leader of a defense that's been the sidebar to Russell Wilson having multiple backs away from carrying that team.
I mean, if Russell Wilson carries the defense, Bobby Wagner carries the defense. Like, I think Bobby Wagner to the defense is just as important as Russell Wilson is to the offense. Right. Because if Bobby Wagner goes down, that's it.
And the reason why Russell Wilson's important to the defense just as much too is the defense is often not staying on the field for a long time because of that offense and the way it's run, and very rarely because Rusty keeps his turnovers down, the defense is generally in a bad spot in Seattle as well. So, I mean, that's worth mentioning.
Now, I don't want to come off as the guy that doesn't like teams, but I don't see why Drew Brees is in the top 20 in the NFL right now. I don't see how Drew Brees or Tom Brady are in front of Deshaun Watson.
If you said one and not the other, I'd call you a homer. But now that you put it, well, technically you're still a homer because
I don't even think Aaron Rodgers is in front of it. I don't think either one of the three quarterbacks from before that are after Patrick Mahomes are not better than Deshaun Watson. If you're talking about if you're going over a career, of course, but right now, Deshaun Watson should be in front of those three quarterbacks. Now, those three quarterbacks being in the top 20, I don't see and disagree with that. But there's no way Drew Brees should be at 12 and Deshaun Watson's at 20.
Well, okay, so let me lead off what I'm about to say with the following comment. When you said Deshaun Watson, what did I say? Top 10, right?
Yep.
So you're about to call me a hater, shut your face. Here's the defense. I think what's hurting Deshaun Watson is having played with one DeAndre Hopkins so long, right? You don't have tools if you're Aaron Rodgers. Less true with Drew Brees, obviously. I'm not bringing him up. More true with Tom Brady because he had fewer tools in New England on that last year. You got to remember that too. And I'm a guy who's critical of Tom Brady usual, but you got to give credit where it's due. Hell, half the reason he's wearing a different jersey is because he had so few tools. The only guy who has about as few tools as Tom Brady does would be one, Russell Wilson. So I see why they kind of gave – they kind of helped the fact that he being Deshaun Watson has had DeAndre Hopkins. They're kind of holding that against him, fair or not, I think. And not to mention, look at that division, right? 1 year, the Titans actually show flash of goodness, and the Texans are basically helpless in comparison. Granted, they did, in fact, make the playoffs nonetheless. And hey, Rodney, you're right. Bobby Wagner is a badass. And to be honest, I interviewed him once. Super cool guy, too. I mean, he had to make fun of me the fact that I followed the 49ers as a kid and all, or since a kid, but that's okay. We had fun with it. And as I was talking to him, it was awkward for him because Rusty hit George Kittle for a touchdown in practice. So
here's the other issues I have with the list. Okay, let's talk about guys who. Here's some interesting facts. Okay, the list of quarterbacks that were in the top 100 compared to the quarterbacks who were not in the top 100. Mm-hmm. So you think of the top 100 players in the league. There's no Carson Wentz. There's no Matt Ryan. There's no Matthew Stafford in the top 100. But you have Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen. They all were in the top 100. But no Matt Ryan, no Carson Wentz, and no Matthew Stafford.
You know, something I still don't understand is why it's a thing to hate Matt Stafford.
And Ryan Tannehill made the top 100.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Thank you for reminding me. Ryan Tannehill should not be there. I mean, hell,
and so is Kyler Murray as well too.
I think Kyler Murray is getting props for the situation more than anything else. But again, we're back to that place where it's about what division you play in. It's about all that and your reputation more than anything else. Listen, I'll tell you why Garoppolo got in. He played on the last Sunday of the year possible, and hell, was leading the offense that had Patrick Mahomes and company down by 10 in the fourth quarter. And then, like before Patrick Mahomes goes all Patrick Mahomes. Kyle, the 49ers defense choked. No, Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things for the first time in the entire ball game. What are you talking about?
Kyle Shanahan with Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl is all we know.
Wrong. I'm sorry. We're going to keep you're wrong. There's no middle ground. He still had his team one pass away from being able to take that lead back. You're just
yeah, but also with the play calling Shanahan used in that fourth quarter, you knew Mahomes was going to make a run. You knew it was coming. He wasn't going to be balled up the whole game. The thing was, some of Shanahan's play calling wasn't exact. It was very Falcon-esque in the Super Bowl. It is what it is.
I can't disagree with you more on that. Listen, I know that you have your own issues with Super Bowls, and I appreciate that, but I'm not.
Listen, we're not talking about Super Bowls in my team right now. Where's Kevin Bard? Listen, I can agree with you on that. But a guy that was rated really low, Darius Slay was rated number 90. Darius Slay was 92. Kevin Bard's not on the list, but Darius Slay's 92. I have a little bit of issue with that.
No, Cortland's right though. Both all we hear about is how much Russell Wilson doesn't have receivers, and he doesn't. But DK Metcalf suddenly, and then also Tyler Lockett are on the list. Most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
I don't. How did DK Metcalf make it over AJ Brown?
That's a great question. Wait,
and they're both rookies. They're both rookies last year. Was DJ Moore on the list? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like for example, I mean, DJ Moore has a better argument than Cooper Kupp.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Allen Robinson?
No, that's stupid.
I mean, we can go in a whole bunch of different ways. So the question, some of the players that were, so we also have some other issues in this, and we'll go over this real quickly. So Keenan Allen had an issue with his rating, where he was ranked, and I understand where Keenan Allen's coming from. Keenan Allen, one of the most consistent wide receivers to me. I think a second tier. When you talk about the top elite tier being Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, and Michael Thomas being that tier 1 receiver, Keenan Allen to me is a tier 2 receiver. Okay, in that second range receiver.
Yeah, he's tier 2 mostly because of injuries. I agree.
Keenan Allen was rated number 77, and he had a gripe about this. Okay, a serious gripe. A gripe where it came to the point where on social media he said he was a better receiver, and Kyle wants you to say yes or no to that he was better than Chris Godwin.
Yes.
Better than Tyreek Hill.
No.
Better than Mike Evans.
Hell no.
Okay. I agree with you on the Chris Godwin. All right. There's no way he's Mike Evans. Okay.
None whatsoever.
Mike Evans is right on. They're in the same group to me, but Mike Evans is ahead of him. The only receiver that might be number 4, it might be ahead of Mike Evans, that's not where Julio Jones is Devontae Adams of Green Bay.
Okay. That's not terrible. Yeah, I can see that.
He's not. The thing is, here's when you say about Tyreek Hill, is it because Tyreek Hill has the ability to make the plays down the field?
No, it's because he doesn't need to have the ability to make plays downfield. He makes plays in short yardage and turns them into plays down the field.
The one thing about Keenan Allen that he will always have a knock is Keenan Allen ain't beating nobody in a foot race. No. All right. But Keenan Allen definitely will run every single route you want. He can run every single route on the route tree.
Yeah.
He gets open. He makes catches. He makes plays. Tyreek Hill to me is a home run hitter. All right. Like you said, he can take a screen or he can take a slant or he can take a 9 route and you're not catching him.
Yeah, he's
all right.
Ticket, 100%.
And he looks even better because his quarterback can throw 750 yards down the field. All right. Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback in the league that can't underthrow Tyreek Hill. I've seen plays where Mahomes has overthrown Tyreek Hill. Exactly.
Apparently, no, he didn't because he still got it.
Well, I mean, my favorite play was not my favorite play. It's one of the most memorable plays I've seen Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill do. It was in preseason. The year Mahomes had officially taken the job. They were playing the Atlanta Falcons. It was first quarter. I think it was the Mahomes on the 30, 35-yard line. Mahomes goes back, and he launches one. And he threw it so far, the thing was, he hit Tyreek Hill in stride at the 10-yard, the Falcons' 7-yard line where he caught the ball. So he threw it from the 30 of his end to the Falcons 7, and the ball was in the air. And Tyreek Hill had beaten 3 defenders and almost couldn't catch the ball because it was thrown past him.
Yeah, no, I saw that too. That was amazing. And by the way, I will speak on Cortland's comment real quick about Tyreek Hill being a one-trick pony. It's like calling Randy Moss a one-trick pony. Scoring touchdowns is your one trick. Guess what? You win.
Listen, Tyreek couldn't catch COVID-19 in the phone booth. No, up until last season, that was Titans receivers. Okay. All right. So we talked. So here's some other things when it comes to the top 100. Like I said, I know Rodney was talking about DJ Moore. Why he wasn't on the list? He was top 10 receiving yards for Kai Allen throwing the ball. Here's the thing: when you're the only one who actually can catch a pass, because Greg Olsen was Greg Olsen, and Christian McCaffrey really was your leading receiver last year, it's not saying much.
Yeah.
And DJ's really had what 1.5 good years. Like you got to be considered. Wide receiver, the receiver position is so deep. You got to stand out, and he's not ready to stand out just yet.
I will give him this much credit though, Danny Thompson. He should be in there ahead of both Seattle receivers. I'll leave it at that.
I will agree with you on the Seattle receivers. I will give you that. I have no problem with that. All right. Speaking of things and problems and everything else, because I have a problem Matt Ryan not being in the top 100, but you know what, though? I've gotten over it for years because I tell you what, Matt Ryan's been underrated for years anyway. Prime example, Matt Ryan won the MVP and was 10th in the top 100 the next season. That's what I'm saying. You win the MVP award and you're number 10. At that point, I knew that it is what it is. Matt Ryan will be underrated. He'll be underappreciated, but he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer because of the numbers he's going to put his entire career. As long as he doesn't get, if he doesn't get hurt and continues that trajectory, there's no reason why he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer because of his numbers that he's going to put up. That's just what it is.
You're out of your mind with first ballot. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Listen, the numbers he's going to finish putting up is going to put him and Julio going right in together in Canton together.
Hey, listen. If that does happen, would love to see it. Don't hand me.
Listen, when Matt Ryan goes in first ballot, Kyle, we'll both go to Canton together, and guess what we'll do? I'll take a picture with you right next to Matt Ryan's bust the weekend it goes up when he goes in first ballot.
Hey, and you know what? After we take that picture, drinks will be on me, son.
Listen, that's 2 bets I've won. Yes. Speaking of things that win,
Jack, yes.
Speaking of things that win, it's time for our favorite segment of the evening. No, it's not bashing the Carolina Panthers. It is time. No, it's time for Mount Rushmore. For those who've never watched this show, and I do apologize for you not watching this show. It's about time you are, and welcome to the show. We do every single week a segment called Mount Rushmore with myself, Kyle, and Bobby in the back. We'll take a topic and we'll give our top 4 in no particular order or Mount Rushmore, the 4 greatest. So, Kyle, the best part about this is Kyle never knows what Mount Rushmore is until I give him a topic.
No clue.
So, Kyle, tonight's Mount Rushmore is the Mount Rushmore of chain restaurants.
Okay, define a chain restaurant before we go ahead for the audience at home, please.
Chain restaurants are places that are not considered local or places that are considered in majority areas. So basically, if it's in more than 4 or 5 states, and it's pretty common in most cases, it's considered a chain restaurant. All right?
Restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So you may have heard me mention earlier that in passing, I am somebody who does enjoy an occasional frosty beverage, and I've done it before with my Thompson. Granted, probably not as many would have liked because our daughters were there. Whole other question. What I'm trying to say is this. When it comes to change, there are certain things that you see and they make you want to go, oh, right. Because, sometimes you're in a place like Happy Valley in Pennsylvania and, there's not a whole lot there other than the college itself. Also true of Dayton, Florida,
Or if you're in Clemson, South Carolina, but continue.
Oh, Lord. Anyway. So, you threw me off on that one, man. I'm sorry. But when it comes to change, as I desperately try to grasp for my concentration here, I'm thinking of something where I'm trying to keep it where it's not too regional. That's obviously kind of tough because, I'm not. Well, go ahead.
Now, mind you, if it's in multiple states, that counts as a chain restaurant.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to come out the gate. I have to mention it because it's the place where I would go if there was no pandemic and watch my games week in, week out. I've been doing it for a very long time, Danny Thompson, and only lately Did I hire them to go to a different place? Because it's very difficult to seat because they basically mostly only have booths and high tops. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Miller's Ale House. Listen, folks, I might be a little biased because of the fact that I was a doorman at the Altamont location when I was in college. But all I can tell you for a fact is for a long time, I would go there because the TVs were placed proper and because the food was awesome. Unfortunately, the management at the ones near me just don't really know how to place TVs, and that is what it is. Anyways, moving on. Hey, listen, sorry, I don't want to watch the Bills and the Dolphins when the Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens are playing, or when the Seahawks and the Niners are playing, or heck, I understand the concept of the grits battle between Atlanta and New Orleans. I get that that's important. Anyway, I just don't care about, lately Buffalo matters, but I do. So Ale House to lead it off. Then next up, this is a place that I enjoy just because steak equals good. Right? And for sure, I kind of forget it's an Australian themed place, but it's also a Darden restaurant. So now it's gone up and completely been too expensive. But I say all that to say it's still a good chain restaurant among chain restaurants. I'm going to go with Outback Steakhouse here. Now, granted, I don't think they're as good as Texas Roadhouse, but I don't know that I'm prepared to classify them as a nation chain either. I don't know. I may need a ruling on that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go ahead and put.
They count.
Yeah, exactly.
They count, so they're votable.
Texas Roadhouse?
Yes.
Oh,
it's in both locations.
Getting Outback the hell out of here, and Texas Roadhouse just made it in. Thank you, Danny Thompson, for that ruling. So yeah, I got them. Yeah, this is harder than I thought. I'm just now realizing I eat at a lot of local places, man. But the next one, a lot easier for me. Okay, listen, I got 2 words for you: Parmesan garlic wings. Okay, and not to mention their TV count is pristine, filthy. Okay, I'm pretty sure that if I trip and fall on the floor, as I'm falling on the floor, there will be a TV showing the game that I'm watching, so I don't miss a single bleeding moment. And by the way, Parmesan garlic wings like no other. I got BW3 Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm saying, blooming on your carpet again, though, Rodney. I'll give you that all day. Listen, Twin Peaks is great food, and you stop judging Danny Thompson. Wait, what? Oh, so at the end of the day, there's one more left I got to do. Okay. So let's see. We're talking about places to go where, man, chain restaurant. You know what? If I'm looking to get lunch somewhere on the quick, if I see a Chipotle, I'm going. Okay. Number 4, Chipotle for the lunch crowd. Boom.
Bobby, you in the back? Let's see if Bobby's up. There we go, Bobby. All right, Bobby, your Mount Rushmore of chain restaurants.
Let's see.
This ain't easy, Bobby. I feel
no, it's not. I've been thinking about it. While being Italian, and I can't promote this place. I do love me a good Olive Garden salad and breadsticks.
He's not wrong.
Okay.
The rest of the food's horse crap, but the salad and breadsticks and soup, I can eat that all day.
For the lunch crowd, Bobby, I hear you.
Now, I know it's kind of a chain restaurant because it's in a couple different states. You haven't lived till you had Primanti Brothers.
Okay.
Which is based out of Pittsburgh. Now they're in Florida too.
Is that
okay?
Is that a sandwich joint?
It's a sandwich, but it's also a joint. Yes.
I went to that place when I was in Pittsburgh watching Ravens Steelers 2 years ago. You are absolutely right. Not to mention they happen to have a sandwich called the Double D's. What am I gonna do? Anyways.
Continue.
And being, I know I'm not sure this is a fast food or chain. But the past few times I've driven to Florida for a little netball, which I'm going to miss this year, unfortunately, Zaxby's.
Zaxby's is a South regional chain. I've not personally sampled it, but it is here in Florida, yes.
Zaxby's is quality.
And I like the atmosphere of a good old fashioned Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, I got a sign off. Here we go.
All right, Bobby. Thank you very much for your Mount Rushmore. So let me get into mine. All right. So with chain restaurants, it's really interesting because, like you said, it kind of extends the realm a little bit. All right. So for me, listen, if you want to start anywhere, you gotta go Outback. I know Outback with Darden's, but listen, the Bloomin' Onion, I call it the brown bread with the butter.
Oh,
all right.
That wheat bread is the jam, son. By the way, you know what chocolate sauce sometimes you'll think you're eating a brownie. I promise.
Listen, it is what it is. All right, Outback. I mean, the only thing missing from Outback is the fact of a kangaroo and a koala bear walking through the place and Crocodile Dundee. Okay, listen, it's well worth it. That Bloomin' Onion is phenomenal. All right, second part. Listen, I know I got steaks in the first one, but this is more than just steaks with this one. Texas Roadhouse yeast rolls are just worth the price of admission. Okay, they're worth the price of admission. You can't go wrong with the yeast rolls from Texas Roadhouse. All right. It's elite. Okay. I mean, if it's in the NFC South, it finishes in front of the Panthers, right behind the Saints in the division race. All right.
Precious is coming down. You gotta watch stuff.
Hey, listen, it's got the bread. What can I say?
True.
All right. Third on my list. Kyle, you mentioned them earlier. Miller's Ale House.
Mm-hmm.
With the Zinger Mountain Melt. The Zinger Mountain Melt is worth breaking quarantine. If you're watching in the bubble in Orlando, if you're going to break quarantine, it's worth it for the Zinger Mountain Melt. All right. Listen, you get the sweet Thai chili and the barbecue version of the Zinger Mountain Melt, and I promise you, it will change your life. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's worth breaking quarantine for if you're in Orlando. It's worth getting a 10-day quarantine to go there. It's almost up there with the lemon pepper wings that I'll be soon be eating from Magic City.
Hey, by the way, on healthy, I was still able to eat real good out there. Not for nothing. Continue.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. Here's the other one. Now, Bobby mentioned places that Italian place. I love the bread, unlimited soup and bread from Olive Garden, but my favorite Italian restaurant is in multiple states. Actually, this place actually holds a little bit more of a special value to me than any other place. I'll tell you why. Carrabba's is on my list. I think Carrabba's Italian food is better than Olive Garden. All right. So one of my most favorite stories in my 30 plus years life, I'm not going to mention my age of the show. All right. So it was the very first time I went to Carrabba's, me and my brother. And for those who don't know, my brother is my best friend. So we went out, and it was the first time that me and him actually went to dinner, and I was able to drink legally.
Uh-oh.
All right. So we went out. All right. My brother had a few to drink. I had some too. He had a few to drink. My brother was almost 6'4", 6'3.5", close to 6'4". All right. So he had a couple of drinks. And the one in Charlotte, I want to say, was over towards downtown. It had a low hang, all right, going into the garage. My brother decides to walk on. He had a few drinks and decides to walk, literally walk on the sidewalk that was elevated. I don't know what the hell he was doing. So he decided to walk. And next thing you know,
boom,
his head hit the top of the overpass and he fell down and he basically busted his head wide open. My brother is 12 years older than me. So you see this mid-30s black man laying on the ground, head busted open, laughing his ass off. Like, it's the funniest thing in the world. And that night, me and him went to Carrabba's and spent about $120 between food and drinks. Ever since then, I've loved Carrabba's ever since. It's one of my favorite places to eat. It's always the memory of the food, the memory of my brother. It's like, that will always hit Mount Rushmore. All right. That's there because I every time I think of Carrabba's, I think of my brother busting his head and me taking him to the emergency room, getting 8 stitches because he cracked the top of his head here, 8 stitches, and like in the middle of his head, and he thought it was the funniest thing in the entire world. And for me, I'm like, this dude's bleeding half to death, and I'm had a few to drink. What the hell are we going to do at the parking lot? I had to drive him to the emergency room after having 7 or 8 drinks.
Was he still laughing?
Huh?
Was he still laughing at the?
Hell, he laughed for the next 2 damn days about it. So that's my Mount Rushmore. So I'll go again. It was Carrabba's, Ale House, Texas Roadhouse, and Outback. That's my 4. Kyle, before we go, shout outs and everything else.
Hey, first of all, shouts out to my new home, the conversion. Looking forward to it. It's going to be great times all the way around. It's funny, like throughout the day when we put the announcement on social media and during the day here, by the way, and congratulations for all that. So I thank you for all that. And then also, listen, good luck by default. That Harlem Nights episode's coming. We got some other stuff coming down. We did our first live stream this past Wednesday, and we're going to do it again Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern. So that'll be a good time for all your entertainment and movie needs. Good times there all the way around. And yeah, man, great show, man. Thanks, of course, as always, to Bobby Bladjack. Danny.
Big shout out to our good friends at I-95, Zingo Television, Facebook Live, especially big shout out to everybody in the chat room, everybody from Precious all the way up to my main man. You're good. Mike DeSantis stopped by the room tonight. Also big shout outs to my main man, Cortland Griffin, who's also the newest member of the 3-point conversion family. So we had we added 2 new members to the team. 2 great signings. Cortland's also a talented writer, NFL guy, can be very versatile. Him and Kyle are going to come in, and they're going to just tag team and make the 3-point conversion a lot stronger. So big shouts to Cortland, of course, Kyle for being part of the team. Also Rodney, a guy I know he's a kid. Ironically, he likes cat teams for some strange reason. Tigers and kittens, oh my. Big shout out to Mayor Rodney Richardson and over there, all over at Under Construction. Check them out Sundays on YouTube and every other platform. Like I said, big shout out to Bobby Blackjack up in the studios up in New Jersey. Also, 2 quick things before we go, housekeeping items. Number 1, I got some news. A friend of mine's family, a friend of mine's member of the family has come down with COVID. So keep them in your prayers, everybody. So I'm not the type of person who's going to disclose too much information, but keep them in your prayers for a speedy recovery as well. And also, before we go at the same time, it's been 139 days, 139 days since Breonna Taylor was murdered for no apparent reason by the city of Louisville. The cops are still out and have not been arrested. Please continue to hashtag say her name, keep Breonna Taylor's name active and alive. And also at the same time for the city of Louisville, please go ahead and arrest these cops because it's been long enough and it's time. It's been way past time. It's just not even going. So say her name, keep Breonna Taylor's name alive. Like I said, for myself, Kyle, Bobby in the studio. We'll see you guys on Monday night with more of the NBA bubble, as well as the opening week of the NHL. We can talk hockey now too.
So basketball, and more.
And guess what? Hockey's in Canada. Hey, all right. So for Kyle, Bobby, myself, I will catch you guys on Monday night. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody. Peace.